First batch of Indonesian citizens affected by human trafficking in Cambodia departed back home to Indonesia this morning, as the 55th Asean Foreign Ministers Meeting entered the final day. Rahmat Idris is in Phnom Penh with the live report. Let's join him. Rahmat Idris, what are the latest details on this?
Hey there, Aisha. Great news today from the capital of Phnom Penh, Cambodia, as this morning, local time at 9:30, the first batch of Indonesians affected by the scam, victims of human trafficking violence here in Cambodia, have departed the capital on their way home back to Jakarta, Indonesia. The first batch of repatriations comprised of 12 people. They departed this morning from Phnom Penh with a few hours layover in Singapore and with no delay or change of schedule. It is estimated that in just a couple of hours they will be arriving in Indonesia. Well, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia have said again and again. Yesterday we talked to her and she said this is such an achievement for the government of the Republic of Indonesia in synergy with the government of Cambodia, particularly represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia and also our colleagues here at the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and also the representatives of the Indonesian police working together with the local police whose jurisdictions is right here in Cambodia. It is such an achievement for all of this synergy of the two countries. However, not without difficulties. Minister Retno Marsudi said that initially there were problems with the exit documents, with the immigration's requirements. Particularly, these are Indonesian citizens who have been staying for a while in Cambodia, meaning they are overstayer, or rather they were, some of them here. So that will incur some fines and some extra cost to bring them home. So just yesterday, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Retno Marsudi, met and lobbied the Minister of Interior of Cambodia to have a one-on-one conversation on what to do with them. And finally, they came to an agreement that all fines will be diminished for all Indonesians because they are categorized as victims of violence and human trafficking, and thus rendering them, they don't have to pay for the fines. And what's even better to prevent this from reoccurring in the future is that the two governments have decided to draft the so-called Memorandum of Understanding on transnational crimes, particularly with a specific attention given to human trafficking. So hopefully no similar things, no similar crimes will take place in the future. What's even more special, Aisha, is that the first batch of repatriation today from Phnom Penh back to Jakarta is accompanied by the Director of the Indonesian Citizens Protections from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Yuda Nugraha, all the way back home. And upon arrival later on today in Indonesia, they will be accepted by the representatives of Minister of Social Affairs of Indonesia, who will bring them into the so-called mechanisms of rehabilitation and reintegration into the communities, because let's just face it, these are people who've been abused. They've been put in hostage for a while, and they've been. Some of them who are trying to escape have been electrocuted and beaten up. So there must be trauma to all of these Indonesian citizens. However, with only 12 that have departed so far, meaning here in Phnom Penh, the capital, and here at the Embassy of Indonesia in Cambodia, there are still 76 left people who will be waiting for their turn to be brought home, to be repatriated back to Indonesia. And in the meantime, at the origin of their working place in Sihanoukville, a little over 5-hour drive from the capital of Phnom Penh, a little more than 20 Indonesian citizens are still finishing up with their documentations. before they can be brought back to the capital of Phnom Penh and be processed, be interviewed before being repatriated. And just to add to that, the police authority here in Cambodia, particularly in Sihanoukville, are still trying to find out if there are more Indonesian citizens who are trapped in the similar human trafficking, a transnational crime. So we look forward to more updates, and there will probably be a rising number as well to the Indonesian citizens trapped in this case. In the meantime, Aisha, and it is also the same occurrence for Phnom Penh here in the capital, is that the deliberations of the foreign ministers, the 55th Foreign Ministers Meeting of ASEAN has come to the final day, and this is the third day for the meeting, which initially began today with the 12th East Asia Summit for the foreign ministers, and also the 29th ASEAN Regional Forum. Lots to expect. It just finished in the afternoon. But more attentions were given on the bilateral talks, particularly ASEAN plus the US and ASEAN plus Russia. Let me go over with the ASEAN plus the US first, because yesterday the Secretary of State of the US, Antony Blinken, was present himself at the meeting, which was chaired by Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi. During her opening remarks, Minister Retno Marsudi emphasized over and over again that more attention should be given towards the health sector, particularly with the rising numbers of COVID-19 infections across the globe, not only in the region of Southeast Asia with the new variants of COVID-19. And not only that, new threats of spread of monkeypox have also been felt across the globe. At least 80 countries have reported the infection, monkeypox cases, and some of the countries are within the Southeast Asia region. She also emphasized on the importance to be aware of how the fiscal pressures is felt across the globe, also in Southeast Asia, and the rising and the rocketing inflations in different continents, which was trying to be tamed by elevating the the interest rate by the central banks in the US and also in the UK, meaning that with the rising interest rate, there is possibility of economic recessions, particularly for developing economies, developing nations, which are the predominantly here in Southeast Asia, we're all developing nations. So they have to be aware of the possibility of economic recessions in the near future. The minister also reiterated on the strategy of Indo-Pacific, where it should be inclusive. All the countries within the region of Indo-Pacific should put forward the principle of inclusivism instead of exclusivism. So rather coming together, keeping the peace, the stability of the region. And let's move over to what the outcomes were from the ASEAN and Russia talk. This was interesting because ASEAN and Russia, well, Russia has been the dialogue partner of ASEAN for at least 25 years, meaning there's been quite a deep relations between the associations and Russia. And Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was present himself yesterday here in Phnom Penh, and one of the main talks was on Myanmar, because Foreign Minister of Indonesia again and again stressed that the military junta of Myanmar has been observed to disobey the 5 points consensus agreed by all the other non-nations within the Southeast Asian nations. However, in the past couple of months, with the uprising and the crisis of the humanitarian crisis rather in Myanmar, it has been noticed by these foreign ministers that there is no goodwill, there is no good intentions on behalf of the military junta of Myanmar. And the presence of Sergei Lavrov, the Minister of Russia, in Myanmar prior to his attendance here at the Foreign Ministers Meeting has sort of bring back the dispute. Minister Retno Marsudi again and again hoped that the conversations of Minister Sergei Lavrov did not justify the act of no democracy from the military junta, and also the executions of 4 pro-democracy activists in Myanmar by the military junta just a couple of weeks prior to the ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting. And that is seen as sort of a stance and a disobey of the 5 points consensus that has been agreed within ASEAN. So that is something that Minister Retno hoped that Minister Sergei Lavrov will not continue to push in the future in terms of keeping things together between ASEAN and Russia. And lastly, all of the deliberations, all of the outcomes, the deliverables from the 55th foreign ministers of ASEAN will be brought over to the table later on in November for the highest level. And that will be the summit of ASEAN, also here in the capital, Phnom Penh in Cambodia. And that particular summit will also be the opportunity to hand over the chairmanship of Cambodia from 2022 to Indonesia, who will assume the chairmanship of ASEAN throughout 2023. So that concludes our reports from the capital of Cambodia, Phnom Penh. I'm Rahmat Idris with our camera person, Danu Dirja. It has been a delight. Back to you in Jakarta, Aisha.
Thank you so much, Rahmat Idris, for reporting and so many interesting notes on the final day of the 50th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting that has entered the final day today as being addressed by Rahmat Idris, and it all will be being brought up again and followed up in the summit in November. And we also hope that the 12 Indonesian citizens that are on the way back to Jakarta, Indonesia, will fly safely, and also you, Rahmat Idris, will be waiting in the studio with us.